Pivot charts let you summarize large data collections visually. That's great because it gives you a way to look at the numbers without focusing on individual values. But the problem is that your charts can be very busy. That means that there will be times when you want to filter or limit the values that appear inside of a pivot chart, and in this movie I will show you how to do that. As my sample file, I will use the filtering workbook, which you can find in the Chapter 6 folder of your exercise files archive. So this pivot chart, which I'll click, summarizes quarterly sales data for 5 different departments. Let's say that I only want to display values for the balance and dance departments for quarters 2 and 3. If I want to filter a pivot chart, I have 2 different options. The first is that if I have the pivot chart fields pane displayed at the right side of the program window, I can move the mouse pointer over one of the headers, in this case the department field, click the downward pointing black arrow, and then use the filter interface to limit the values that appear. So let's say that I want to display the balance and dance fields. To do that, I'll clear the Select All checkbox that removes the checks from all 5 of the fields, and then I'll check the boxes next to balance and dance, and then click OK. Doing so filters the values in the charts, so I only see sales for all quarters for those 2 departments. And you can also see that a filter indicator appears here next to the name of the department field in the pivot chart fields task pane. The other way that you can filter values inside of a pivot chart is using the controls on the pivot chart itself. So for example, if your pivot chart takes up your entire screen and you've had to hide the pivot chart fields pane, then you can filter using this technique. All you need to do is click the control on the pivot chart with the label of the field you want to filter, in this case is quarter. So click it, and I get exactly the same filter interface that I did in the pivot chart fields pane. I want to display the values for quarters 2 and 3, so as before I'll clear Select All, check the box next to quarter 2, the box next to quarter 3, and click OK. Now I have filters applied to both the department and quarter fields. All the data is still there, it's just I've limited what's displayed. If I want to remove a filter, I can click the control that I used to create it. In this case, I'll remove the filter from the quarter field. To do that, just click the control and then click Clear Filter from Quarter or whatever the field is. I can also remove the filter from department, so I click the department control and click Clear Filter from Department. And when I do, Excel restores the pivot table, displaying all of its data and removing both filters.